All right, here we go. My desk is really, really messy, so I put a towel up to avoid distraction. So I'm just going to do a quick little demo to show you how you're going to be able to take apart your gun. So for a basic cleaning, you can do what we talked about. If you are sure to just flush out the fluid cup of your gun every time, you should not have to do a deep clean very often. If you do have some trouble with your gun, the first thing you can do is remove this handle. Yours may or may not have the little cutaway part, but either way, it doesn't matter. So you're just gonna unscrew the handle, take that off, loosen the needle chucking nut, which is this little piece right here. Unscrew that, set it aside, pull the needle out. Now you can see my needle's a little bit dirty. So I'm just gonna wipe that off with this towel. Oops. My desk is really messy. Your gun probably came with a little sample of lubricant. This stuff, super lube. So I think I showed you this on when we talked last time. Just put a little tiny bit on a paper towel, rub that through your gun. Okay, so that should be hopefully all you have to do most of the time. If you do have a really bad problem, you will go into a more extensive cleaning. This part here unscrews. That comes out. Sorry, I'm doing this like, I have my phone propped up on a trash can, so forgive me if my video is not the best. So you can see this is different than the gun that you had because this is all connected, which makes it a lot easier. This little part isn't free floating, it's attached. So that comes out. This little lever comes out too. I don't know if you can see it. My gun's a little dirty. But there's that little hole in there is where this little lever goes. And when you put it back together, if you can see, there's a little sort of divot on one side. You're going to want to put the little divot facing away from the main part of the gun when you put that back together. All right, so we have the gun like pretty much halfway taken apart at this point. Point of doing this would be if you get one of these little cleaning sets that I told you about. You can then, if you have a really bad clog, and like I said, you're not really going to need to do this very often, but you can get one of these really fine little pipe cleaners, and you can actually stick that down there and clean out this little passageway like that. Now onto the front of the gun. There's a couple different parts here. This part right here is called the nozzle cap. This part gets dirty. You can easily pull that off without disassembling the whole gun, and just clean that off with a little bit of Q-tip and solvent for whatever you're working with. So set that aside. Next part, this is the needle cap. That unscrews. Or I might have that backwards. This might be the nozzle cap. I don't know all the words. Anyway, now we get to the actual nozzle. The nozzle is really small and really annoying. Your gun came with a little wrench, which you're gonna need to get that on, to get it off and on again. It's really easy for these to just jump away out of your hand. So be really careful. Always do this over a table or something. So just loosen it a little bit. Screw it off the rest of the way with your fingers. Boop. You can clean this out See, it's super tiny. Oh, my hand's really dirty. You can clean this out. Usually what I do is I'll just get the needle. Oh, this is really hard to do over the garbage can. I'll just get the needle and sort of pick out whatever might be in there. Usually what the problem, like you can kind of see there's a little tiny bit of paint in there. But this is alcohol-based paint, so it doesn't really matter. Oftentimes what the actual problem is paint buildup in this little tube that the nozzle attaches to. So you got your really fine pipe cleaner from your little cleaning kit. And get a little solvent in there and just kind of clean that out like that. You want to be careful you don't do that too much though, because if the pipe cleaner is a little bit too abrasive, you can actually destroy the threading for the screw for the nozzle. So be mindful, only do that when you really need to. Okay, now let's put the gun back together. So we're gonna start with the nozzle, little teeny tiny nozzle. Oh, Jesus. So usually you can just kind of get that back in there. Again, be really careful because you don't want to drop this. I've done that before and never found them again. Then you get your little screwdriver. Again, I'm doing this over my phone, so it's a little more awkward than usual. And then just go ahead and tighten that. Do not over tighten it, that will strip the threading. So just get it until it kind of locks in, and don't go any farther than that. Next, I'm going to locate my nozzle cap. This little piece. Screw that back on. Then the needle cap, or whatever, this little end part. I should really review the names of all these pieces. So, okay, we got the front of the gun on. Next, we are going to put the little lever back in. So I'm going to make sure that I have the part that has the divot. And I'm going to drop that back into that little hole. This can be a little tricky. Actually, since I have this disassembled, this would be a good time to put just a drop of the super lube that I talked about right into that little hole. And this is going to keep the lever nice and lubricated so we don't have any sticking. All right, so this can be a little bit frustrating. And I'm trying really hard to do it so that you can see it, but so that I can see too, and it's not sure if it's working out that well. All right. Okay. Perfect. Okay, we've got that back in. Next, I'm going to go get that little spring part. I'm going to make sure that this part is pointing forward and drop down. And just push that in so that it rests up against the lever. Screw that back in. You want to get it at least halfway screwed in, and then like we talked about, the tighter that you have this, the less this little lever is going to be able to pull back. So depending on the amount of detail work you're doing, you might decide that you want to have this all the way screwed in, because it's going to make it, there's going to be a lot more resistance when you pull back. I usually like to have mine not quite that tight, like a little bit farther back. So there's a little less resistance there. Next, I'm going to get my needle and just be really careful with the needle, but okay, I don't know if you can see that. The needle's just going to go right in here, slide all the way in till it can't go any farther. You're gonna get the needle chucking nut, screw that back on, screw that in all the way. Then your handle. There we go. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm gonna look at this video and make sure that you could actually see everything that I was doing. But yeah, so you got a little sample of Super Lube. Definitely get this. Get one of these little cleaning kits. Mine's a little bit destroyed. You can actually, you see what I've done here is I put my screwdriver, or it's not a screwdriver, it's a wrench. I put my wrench onto this little thing. So I have everything that I need for cleaning right here. I've got my spray bottle, or you could just get like a regular spray can, and then the other thing I was telling you about, which is this airbrush holder, which is really helpful. All right, well, hopefully this video was helpful, and have fun airbrushing. Let me know if you have any questions, okay? All right.